All right, so I answered a question last week directly to the member that asked it, but I wanted to blast this out to everyone as a good reminder. And the question was twofold. One, what are the best insurance companies for bikers to cover their motorcycle? And then number two, and more importantly, is there a chart of how much insurance that you should get coverage-wise, specifically for UM and MedPay? And so my answer to the first question was pretty simple, which is it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, what company you go with. I think they all provide pretty similar services. I've heard, USAA is a little bit better than some of the others when it comes to customer service and those things. But when it comes to a claim, man, they're going to treat it pretty much the same, especially a personal injury claim. They're going to come up with the same arguments. They're going to fight you the same way. And as I've told you guys, you need to get a lawyer. Whether it's me or someone else, it doesn't really matter as long as they know what they're doing. You got to have someone in there fighting for you. So it doesn't really matter if it's Geico versus Progressive versus USAA, in my opinion. What I really want to see is that you get as much coverage as possible, and then therefore you go with the provider that's going to be the cheapest for that really good coverage. So that dovetails in to the more important part of the question in my mind, which is a chart of how much coverage you should get. I don't have a chart, I haven't seen a chart, but it's pretty simple. When it comes to UM, at least $100,000 in add-on UM coverage. Got to get it add-on, not reduced by. Very important. Add-on adds directly on top of whatever the at-fault party has, so it gives you, by that definition, more coverage than if it was reduced by. So at least $100,000. I would love to see it much more than that, $250,000, $300,000, something like that. MedPay, it's a part that a lot of people don't think through. It is a great piece of coverage. It's separate from the UM coverage that directly covers your medical bills and covers it as you're treating. I want to see at least $10,000 of MedPay. Would love it if you could get 25 or 50. But I would say 10 as a minimum. So you're going to want to look for a 100,000 UM add-on policy with at least 10K of MedPay coverage and see which provider out there will give that type of policy or better for you the cheapest, and go with them. Doesn't matter if it's Geico, Progressive, USAA, Safeco, some other, the General or whatever. In my mind, it doesn't really matter. It's having that coverage. So that's the answer to the question. Please pose any other questions that you have. Shoot me an email, comment below. Anything on this topic or otherwise, I would be happy to speak with you and try to answer your question. Thanks for watching this video.